So, guten Abend. Herzlich willkommen bei Wacom und ich schalte auf Englisch. Welcome. We are Wacom. I usually say that we are like any Harry Potter fans here. Who's Harry Potterish? Okay, hello. So we are like Ollivanders, right? So we make magic wands. We make pens that artists, designers use to do magic. So we are always fascinated by what artists do with our tools. And when I thought today what to say to you to welcome you, it was, okay, there is something between us as a hardware provider and the actual artist who does the magic. And that's maybe the ones who write the magic spells. And these are the developers of the software that interprets what our pens are inputting, and the tilt, the pressure, the coordinates. And the software developers who, since the 90s, a little bit earlier, programmed in order to help artists to create fantastic things that look really like ink or like oil paint, whatever. That's doing also a big part of the magic. And you can do many different things with pens and software magic, and it's not only signature recognition and other things, even games. And so that's what we do, and you're all welcome to try it out later on in the showroom area. But that's not the main point today. And you get some very interesting insights on the Japanese market, I know. And so that's why I now will disappear and leave the stage for somebody else. Bye-bye, have fun.
Handes, Konbanwa, Düsseldorf. That was Japanese. Good evening. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for tuning into the stream. First time that we are live streaming one of our events. Yeah, I don't actually have that much to say except thanking you. But yeah, so many people here, so many people who signed up, awesome. I really have to ask our special guest tonight to come here more often, I think, because obviously it's working. So yeah, today we will have another workshop of sorts, which we already had in the past. We had a game arts workshop at one point, a couple of years ago, and an Unreal Engine workshop. And today we have a game business workshop on the Japanese market, because some of my students are here and they know that I always tell them, you have to think globally, look at all the regional markets, it's very important for you. And yeah, the Japanese games market is the 3rd largest in the world. The German is just the 5th largest, so yeah, Japanese beats Germany in this regard. Anyway, so we have an expert on the Japanese games market here tonight, and I'm very thankful, grateful, humble that we have such an awesome expert. And yeah, without further ado, enjoy the evening, and please welcome on stage Miss Tomoe Haga.
Thank you. Okay, let me set up my presentation now. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Before we start, I would like to thank you for making it happen and giving me this fantastic opportunity, Alex, Wacom members, and City of Düsseldorf, and shoot, I can't pronounce Fresenius. Thank you, Fresenius University media team, media class. Thank you so much for making it happen. Okay. So let me put. So I'm trying to. Yeah. Yes. I usually use Google Slides, so that's why it's a bit tricky. All right. Tonight I would like to talk about Japanese gaming market. I mean, obviously we cannot cover it all, but just a slice of Japanese gaming market. And before I talk about it, this way. Oh, I need to switch it on. There you go. Voila. Okay, so my name is Tomoe Haga. I'm the founder of GozenGames. So GozenGames is a consultant agency for specialized in gaming market, bridging Japanese gaming market and Western gaming market. And we've been running our business almost 4 years. Since the Corona happened, we started this business. It was coincidence, anyways. I actually started my business career more than 15 years ago. My first business career started at Square Enix headquarters. And there I started as a global marketing manager for online service. But within Square Enix, there were such a limited international business people. So I sort of like switched a lot of, or I had a lot of hats within Square Enix. And at some point, I was a global project manager for Final Fantasy 7 and 8 for Steam version release, which took us like 2 to 3 years. It was quite a long project, but it was a really successful project. And back in the time, actually, it was a long time ago, and it was the first title for the franchise or any Japanese Square Enix title to be on Steam. So it was quite a big deal. And after that, I became a business development for emerging markets, and then at the end ended up becoming a producer for mobile games. And after that, I moved to Cool Games, which is a Dutch HTML5 game publisher. That's where I moved in Amsterdam. So this morning, I actually came from Amsterdam to Düsseldorf. It was my first time to be here, and I always heard a really good thing about Düsseldorf and Little Tokyo. Obviously, Alex took me a really nice tour of the Little Tokyo area, and I'm super excited to discover the city tomorrow morning. Then I was there, Cool Games, for like 5 years, managing Japanese market. And back in the time, HTML5 gaming market is still small, especially in Japan. I joined a startup company, and we were sort of no one in Japan, and we needed to start from scratch and build a new relationship with Japanese big companies, and ended up Japanese market was 1/3 of the revenue at the end coming from within the company. So that was my gaming experience, and now we're gonna talk about the main topic. Today we're gonna, as I said, brief overview of Japanese gaming market, and we're gonna talk a little bit deeper about PC game market, mobile game market, and also things you need to know before you enter the Japanese market. And if we have time, we can talk about business manners in Japan. So. As Alex introduced, Japan is a number 3 when it comes to revenue market size. And as you can see, United States and China are so close by, but between China and Japan is half of the size Japan is. And if you see Japan and Korea, it's also like quite a big gap. And as Alex said, German is quite close to South Korea. And this chart displays the growth of Japanese gaming market, and it's still growing. And because of the pandemic, the growth sort of like drastically increased. And because of that, we saw a little bit of decrease on 2022, but it is still growing. And the markets break down by platform and users. So the orange part is the majority of Japanese gaming market, which is native app. So when you talk about Japanese gaming market, mobile gaming is it's the main market what we are talking about. And the second biggest one is console market. It's 12% now. And green one, light green one is a PC market. Then user base. Majority of game users are playing obviously native app, but there's a lot of overlap between console and PC. So quite a lot of people playing console as well. And PC, we will talk about it in the next section, but it's really growing. And console share. So obviously, Nintendo Switch is the biggest console in Japan. And the next one is PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. The rest of the devices are quite tiny. And these are a little bit outdated data, so some of the titles are not in. But as you can see, most of the console titles are on Nintendo Switch or also Japanese publishers. And this is also a little, it's an overall time ranking. And most of the titles are, as you can see, it's a Japanese publisher published title for PC market. And there are a few global target title like Minecraft or GTA or Counter-Strike. So we dig a little deeper, PC game market. So this is the same chart that I show, but this actually shows really important notice that from 2019, before COVID, the market got double. So the reason is because during Corona time, there are a lot of people who wanted to stay home and watch streaming service and gaming as well. But there are many other reasons as well. So sorry, it's making a bit weird noise. So yeah, not only the COVID pandemic helped PC market to grow, but also lack of device availability actually helped a lot of console gamer to PC game. They switched to PC game because it was super hard to obtain PS5. And on top of that, a lot of people are now discovering there are so many choices on Steam or Epic Store, and they're even more reasonable and cheaper. And more like Japanese gamers are accepting foreign games. And another thing is that local PC gaming platform like DMM is growing so fast. And in fact, PUBG was introduced by DMM. And then later on, PUBG got bigger, and then PUBG moved to Steam. But local PC game platform is becoming bigger and making some present. And another thing is that, for example, Capcom, they see the PC market quite early stage. And they included Steam as a launch console or launch platform from early stage, and more publishers are doing the same. And then a title like Final Fantasy XIV, Kantai Collection, there are so many successful Japanese PC-only games as well that really helped Japanese gamer to go into PC market. And I know that it's kind of like a taboo outside of Japan, but Web3 or blockchain gaming is still relatively healthy in Japan. And there are still a lot of companies like Square Enix, K-Lab, SNK are tapping into this market. And not to mention Steam saw the growth in Japanese market. And finally, Japan was ranked in Steam top 10 selling country. And also, Japan is the highest growth country compared to other countries in Steam. So Steam drastically changed their storefront and localized better. And then, last but not least, a lot of popular smartphone games actually include PC title, or they release simultaneously at the same time as smartphone title as well, such as Umamusume Pretty Derby. I will explain it to you later. And another trend is that indie Steam game market boom is really hitting in Japan. I know that it's been quite a long time ago for Western market, but in Japan, since like 2020, like after COVID, like we saw the PC market growth, and a lot of people are interested in PC market, and there are so many publishers actually looking for indie games to invest or publish. So if you happen to have nice indie game developing by yourself, please feel free to contact me. Okay, so now we're moving into mobile gaming market. So Japan is still the third. And then, but the funny thing is, when it comes to download, Japan is 14th. Whereas US and China is still remaining in the top 3. Why is that? Simply consumer spending more money per download. So as you can see, Japan is the top spending country, and it's average $20 US per download. And yeah, the United States was, where was it? 8th, and China is the 4th. So yeah, like when I used to work for Square Enix, I had like most of the Square Enix titles. There are a lot of like whales or big spenders, and some of the big spenders were spending like 100K per year for virtual goods or for virtual items. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to spending into games, I think Japanese gamers are quite willing to spend a lot of money. And genres. So obviously, the most popular genres is RPG. And next to that is simulation and then strategy. Casual games are quite small. I'm not sure if you recognize all of that. I mean, obviously this one is quite popular, but other titles, I'm not sure if you can recognize it. But yeah, and when it comes to download, hyper-casual is the biggest section, and still not so much different. RPG is still popular download genre. And these are last year's ranking by downloads consumer spends. And most of the title, it's quite tiny. I'm not sure if you can see, but most of them are really domestic titles. Yeah. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about these top 6 titles. And these titles has been in the ranking for over a decade. And Japanese mobile ranking hasn't been changing in the past 10 years. And this is also another reason why a lot of publishers are actually looking for another opportunity, because it's simply Japanese mobile market is quite saturated. So one of the top game, Disney Tsum Tsum. How many of you guys have played this game? Oh, okay, that's quite impressive. So yes, I mean, as you can see, the country breakdown, 95% majority of users are coming from Japan. And it's been released 2014, so almost 10 years. And this is a simple match 3 game. And this actually, to play this, you have to download Line, and you have to connect with Line. Line is kind of like a WhatsApp in here. And as you know, Japanese mobile game is heavily running a gacha system. So all the games has to have gacha system to make money, or for user to pay more or to play more. And another game, it's been a legend game, is Puzzle and Dragon. I'm going to ask the same thing. How many of you guys have played? Oh wow, okay. Are you still playing, or no? Okay, yeah, so it's been 11 years, and this is RPG puzzles, and yeah, I mean, I know that Puzzle and Dragon tried to release outside of Japan, but it didn't go well. I guess it's because of gacha system. It's too heavy, and it's not so acceptable in a Western culture. But now that sort of Genshin Impact is hitting, I guess there will be an opportunity for Japanese game to do well now, well received. But anyway, this is also like heavy gacha type of game. And another game, Monster Strike. This is also one of the best game in Japan, and it's been there for 10 years, and majority of players are in Japan. And actually, I forgot to mention Puzzle and Dragon and this one heavily running the event. So, you know, every now and then, the collaborative event is really big. So, for example, like this one is with Gundam, and another Puzzle and Dragon was, I forgot which one was it, but Dragon Ball. But anyway, like they collaborate a lot, and they run events, and obviously they run gacha as well. And this one is the same, 90% is from Japan, but this one is a little bit different. It doesn't rely on too much on gacha system, but yeah, they have like a quite catchy story and visual novel and characters, and they use like really famous voice actors, and so yeah, they're also really appealing to Japanese gamers. And this one is the only unique one that is not only played in Japan, but also outside of Japan as well. And this doesn't have gacha. So yeah, this was quite rare one, but I guess you all know Pokemon Go. And this one, I wanted to talk a little more. How many of you guys know this game? Okay. I know it's quite shocking title. It's a bit tricky for me to explain because just by looking, it's a bit weird. So it says 100% Japanese audience, but they tried to release it outside of Japan, Korea, and China, but it didn't go well. And clearly, I don't think they can release it in America or here. It's pretty much a simulation game that you control the character, you raise the character, which is girl with a little horse ear and horse tail, and they dream to become the best idol, but by running and competing. But this one became really big hit, and this is newly released 2021. This was the biggest phenomenon in Japan, and also it was a big thing for the market because none of the game succeeded to rank in the top and shake the top ranking. So this was really shocking title. And a little more about it. And so why this was super successful? This was actually successful because it was led by Generation Z. Like majority of players are actually Generation Z. And yeah, also the cross-media platform actually works quite well. So at the very beginning, actually this was supposed to be launched quite a long time ago, 5 or 6 years ago. But it got postponed a couple times. And they actually planned to release anime and comic simultaneously. But because it got postponed, anime and comic was released beforehand. So they actually built a little bit of hype. And the anime and comic was quite nice, well received. So it was that was why they kind of built the momentum. And then by the time they released their game, it was quite big hit. There were already big user base and community. So it was a quite big hit. And obviously, this game was really, really well made because they took like 5 to 6 years to build. So it was quite really well balanced and a really good artist and good game design. So a little summary of top ranking mobile game. As I said, as you could see, like most of the ranking titles are domestic titles, like Japanese publishers, and it hasn't been changed over 10 years. But this Umamusume kind of changed the market, and then also like they are heavily relying on gacha system for monetization. And therefore, there is really high ARPU Apupu. But the new trend, as Umamusume Pretty Derby showed, that the Generation Z is actually the key to win this market. Plus, Generation Z is really accepting more Western games. And also, there are a lot of Chinese publishers showing the success in Japanese gaming market. To show you that, so there are so many Chinese games ranked in Japanese mobile market, and this pink part is China, and it's almost 1/4 of market is taken by Chinese publishers. Why is that? Obviously, their games are super high quality. The budget is quite big, and also they spend a lot of marketing budget on advertisement. So if you are in Japan playing games or watching YouTube videos, you see a lot of Chinese publishers' game everywhere. And they also have a really good understanding of Japanese culture and Japanese what they like. So usually they go with like Japanese anime style, and they have like a Japanese historical background of stories. So they appeal to really tailor to Japanese culture. That's what they're good at. So as I said, Pretty Derby was mostly led by Generation Z. So as you can see, 60% of the users are Generation Z. So it's very important to understand what do they like. And just to show you how Generation Z is playing, global title, is that, so this is Generation Z's favorite game app top 10. And number 1 and 2 is Japanese title, but those green highlighted titles are, global, foreign titles. So they are really keen to play, foreign titles. And I just wanted to show Project Sekai, the number 1 game for Generation Z. It's a music rhythm game featured Hatsune Miku. Okay. So now we talked about Japanese PC market and mobile market. I would like to talk a little about what you need to know before you enter the Japanese market. So there's so many things that you need to know, but I will highlight 3 things. So obviously culture is completely different. And how do you make communication, or how do you network? How do you approach to the right companies? And also language barrier and localization quality is very important. So when it comes to like understanding culture, I will focus on Japanese Generation Z, because as I said, it's the key to be successful from now on. How do you grasp Generation Z's attention? So who are they? So they are born with smartphone, and they are digital social media natives. And I think this is quite similar to Western Generation Z as well, I guess. And they value individuality, diversity, and they have strong desire for approval, like getting likes and being on social media. And they put importance on time and cost performance. So, for example, they don't watch regular TV. And they only watch streaming service like Netflix or Amazon Prime or YouTube. But they don't watch normally. They watch it double speed. And while they're actually watching YouTube video or tweeting or talking to their friends. So they're like quite high multitasker. And they prefer open and flat communication. So that's who they are. And the important thing, important activity you need to know about Japanese Generation Z, but this is actually a country-wide phenomenon. It's called oshikatsu. So oshikatsu is sort of like supporting your favorite character or favorite K-pop or favorite anime or favorite whatever. And according to the recent survey, majority of Japanese people, especially Generation Z, 80% of Generation Z has some sort of oshi. So it used to be like this. So it was called otaku. And otaku used to look like this, and it's like a little bit of like a negative image that you cannot say like, hey, I'm otaku out loud. But then now, otaku sort of like improved or transformed to something like really nice, and you could be like proud of like, hey, I'm into this. And you meet people in an event or social media or at school, like, hey, I'm into this K-pop star. Like, why don't we do something together? And then they, do stuff together. So that's how it works. And this is a great example of oshikatsu, and it's exactly like this. But okay. So this is not a Generation Z, but as I said, it's and this is a single mother who got hooked up in a K-pop artist, and she's really, explaining like how great he is or how great this. And she met the friend at the hair salon, and then she goes to Korean town, experience Korean culture, and then she started learning Korean songs, and now like her room becomes like this, but it's exactly like this. And she's, her life evolved with this oshi. So it's all about oshi. Like she's learning Korea, and she's now going to Korea to see her oshi's concert. But this is exactly majority of people, I would say, in Japan. Like they have some sort of oshi. Like everyone is really into something. Well, unfortunately, in this commercial, she got COVID, and it's a commercial of gas company. So at the end, like the daughter starts cooking nice meal, and used to carry on. That's commercial. But this shows exact oshikatsu. And so for oshikatsu, what is important, that there's an important item is called akusta, which is acrylic stand. So it's like a small keychain or something you can carry around of your oshi. And then you actually carry the oshi around everywhere you go, and you do activity together. So you go to like a restaurant where Oshi filmed his TV show or movie, and then you share the meal together. And then there's a Demon Slayer character, and you kind of like as if you went with Oshi. So it's in Instagram, it's everywhere. And so what kind of oshi, people are looking after? And obviously K-pop idol, J-pop idol, they're super popular. And this is also like one of the biggest oshi. How many people have seen this, or do you guys know? Nice. So they are called Strawberry Prince, and they consist with 6 YouTuber, artist, songwriter, streamer, and so they are actually boys band, but they're presenting themselves with this 2D character. They do all sort of like lives on YouTube or TV or you name it, and they also do like a physical live. Obviously, in a physical live, they show their faces and everything, but when they are on media, they have to request that the media has to put this 2D character on top of them. So they cannot show the real style. So this has been quite big in Japan. And another big oshi is this agency. It's called Niji Sanji. So this is an agency with a lot of 2D YouTuber, and it's a visual streamer. So most of all of them are actually 2D character, and behind them there's actual people. You don't know if this girl is played by man or kid, but still these are super popular. And if you turn on TV or all the commercial, actually they are on the commercial, or they're everywhere. So this is one of the biggest oshi in Japan. And also, like when you, especially when you release your game, you usually look for like influencers or something, and they're super popular influencer. So, does it have to be like a big game like Pretty Derby, or it has to be anime type of art style? It doesn't have to be. I mean, this is pretty much anime style, but still, this is a really simple game. This can be really popular in Generation Z. And then, obviously, like worldwide hit, like Among Us or Fall Guys, they are also really big in Generation Z. So, it doesn't have to be Japanese anime style, but they have the tendency to go on Japanese anime style. Okay, then how do you build relationship with Japanese publisher or Japanese gaming company? Unfortunately, there's no nice tool like LinkedIn. It exists, but nobody uses, and there's no similar service like LinkedIn. So either you have to know somebody who is in a local market, and that somebody has to be in the industry quite long, and or agency, or at least you can attend like a TGS or some sort of Bit Summit or something, like some sort of like a physical event, and then you meet like face-to-face. Face-to-face meeting always really helps, especially with Japanese clients or Japanese business. So yeah. And localization barrier and quality, that's very, very important, because Japan is, English proficiency is really bad. So as you can see, this is like among 160 plus country, we are at 80th. And compared to other Asian countries, like South Korea is 36, it's not bad. And China is 62. So Japan is 80s, and it's the lowest in Asian countries. So we're pretty bad. But the thing is, we are okay with writing and reading. But when it comes to like actual communication, speaking, listening, that's where we get like really bad. So that's why you really need to localize your game properly. And also, like we can notice that this game has been localized with Google Translation by looking at the design and everything. But what Happy did was really good. They did like a proper localization, and they have been successful in Japanese market. And the previous game was Arc Hero, and this was quite a big success in Japanese gaming market. So the localization is very, very important. They really tailored it. So yes, that's about it actually for Japanese gaming market. So far, do you have any questions? Sure, the one with the hat.
So as someone who's making like PC-specific games
Yeah?
myself, you said the PC market in Japan is growing by a lot, but would you say that's more due to the oversaturation from the mobile market flowing into the PC, or more due to the growing interest in like actual PC games made for PC? And based on that, would you say it's worth it investing the resources, which are quite heavy, I'd say, due to what you said about localization, if you're making PC-specific games?
It's actually both. So the saturated mobile market is it's really hidden in Japan. So that's why a lot of people are sort of like looking for like other alternatives. But at the same time, during COVID, they discovered like Steam and Epic Store, and they're more interested in foreign titles, and simply more choices are available in PC market. So that's why a lot of Japanese users are tapping into PC market. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. And especially like Japan is number 3rd biggest country. So, even though the market share is quite small, like as you saw, like there's a, tremendous amount of users on PC market. So it's definitely worth it. Yeah. Other questions? Oh.
I got the impression that with the Oshi part, got the impression that with the acceptance of commercialized in-app game purchases, that this market seems to be a little bit more geared towards bigger companies who can tap into that market and create the franchises and everything and build a relationship. So from my understanding, it would make sense to maybe more move into the PC aspect rather than into the mobile market. It made a very saturated impression for me.
Yes.
Would you agree that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of big companies like Bandai Namco, Square Enix, Sega, everyone tried to be successful on mobile market, but they, none of them has succeeded to stay on top like super long, like as you saw. Only Pretty Derby, the Uma Musume kind of went in, but there's opportunity, obviously. So that's why, like, appealing to Generation Z is it's the key. But still, it's really, really tough market, and especially Chinese company publishers are tapping in. They're spending a lot of marketing budget. There's no way that you can beat with not even Japanese companies. Yeah. So yeah.
Companies that have made mobile titles that are not free to play but pay to play.
Yeah.
Is that an actual niche in the Japanese market, unlike in the global market, which is mostly primarily free to play?
Yes, there is a market for that. A lot of like, I forgot the title, but a lot of the publisher also has like a pay to play, paid market, paid app as well. But yes, it's quite small compared to free-to-play market.
But it is bigger than the global market, percentage-wise?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
So I've noticed that all the games that you have shown are relatively PvE focused rather than PvP, which is kind of more popular in the Western scene or even in China and South Korea. Like League of Legends is really popular here everywhere,
right?
But not in Japan. And I was rather curious, are Japanese gamers more competitive or rather the opposite? So they really like PvE, okay.
Yes, yeah.
So
like play or yeah, that's the thing. Japanese people don't like competitive games usually, but again, it's changing because of the Generation Z. Generation Z is really willing to go into like a PvP or more competitive space, like Knives Out, PUBG, and Apex and stuff like that. But usually, Japanese player likes to play more cooperative.
Hi, thanks for your presentation. My question would be, given the growing acceptance of Western games in Generation Z, is there a genre or segment you would advise indie developers to focus more on because it's more approachable or less hostile compared to these bigger companies?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I mean, as you saw, like always RPG works, and simulation also works. Also, Generation Z is quite unpredictable, so it's a tough question. But yeah, I mean, anything you saw like on the top number 3, like simulation, RPG, strategy, and also story-driven and good art, that would work. Yeah. Also, like involving like a social interaction or some like social media involvement would be quite help. Anything else? Are we good on time? Okay, so if you don't have any question regarding gaming market, I'm gonna go a little bit about Japanese gaming, Japanese business culture. So overall Japanese work culture, so we're collectivism over individualism, meaning that we think about harmony. So that actually leads to the next point, that when you have like some sort of conflict or discussion with colleagues or friends, you tend to agree, even if you don't agree, just to, you know, ease the situation. That's what we usually do. So that's really tricky when it comes to business situations. So you have a business meeting, and you know, I often encounter like, you know, being a mediator between Japanese publisher and a Western company, and then Japanese publisher would be like, oh yes, like your idea is great, and I really like it. And at the end, like there's a long introduction about, you know, it's a great game and everything, and then like a little tiny hint somewhere that, okay, this is a no-go. And but it's so difficult to spot it if you're not native Japanese. And yeah, often during the meeting, like I spot it like super easily. Okay, so like he's saying no, and then my translation will be super short, like compared to his explanation, like I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, and then I say, yeah, this is not going to happen. And then like all of the, you know, attendees looking at me like, but he spoke a little longer. But this is how it works. Yeah, and top to bottom hierarchy, it's all about seniority. So we have different languages for when you're speaking higher or older person, like you have to speak differently. And the same for the company structure, like older and senior, it gets power. And companies are usually, they don't like to take risks. And they usually want to go for like old style, traditional style. Again, it's changing, but still this is a core. And you know, strong work commitment. So we take work really seriously. Our work-life balance is not so good. But yeah, usually the launch date, I remember that when I used to be a producer for Square Enix for mobile game, I was producer for international games, so I had to talk to like US Apple people for launch or any updates. I remember like I always stayed at the office until 2 or 3 in the morning every update. So was my teammate as well. So that's the dedication we have. And now that I moved to Amsterdam, like my previous company, like on the launch day, even on the launch day, I was expecting like, okay, like maybe you can stay until like everything goes well, or maybe an hour later. No, like they need to go home. Like, oh, I need to catch the 4 o'clock train. Even on the launch day, they leave. So I saw a little, you know, a big difference from there. Then high contextual culture. So we don't talk a lot and we don't say much, but you just need to read the room. So you need to, you know, without us speaking, you need to read the room, understand, okay, what is this person thinking? That's very important, which is quite difficult, again, for non-Japanese to understand. And we do have a lot of like unspoken rules and restrictions. And also, as I explained, business implication, indirectness is always there. So when you're reading email from Japanese client, you don't see the conclusion, and you really have to look for it, because there are so many explanations before the conclusion, whereas, you know, American style or European style, you say the conclusion first, and then you explain. So that's something you need to be careful. And as I said, we don't have good work-life balance, but I found like a really interesting graph. I know it's so tiny. So this is Japan, yellow thing. And then this is Germany. It's quite nice. So this is actually like overall total hour of work per year. So apparently German people work a little But I think this chart is a bit tricky to see because they include like part-timer, full-timer. Also, they include maternity leave and holidays, national bank holidays and all that. So it's actually not so fair graph. If you don't consider this, actually Japan is one of the longest hour you have to work. So yes. Then traditional imbalance. I mean, it's changing again. So it's getting better and less harassment or less longer work. So back in the time, like when you used to work at the office, if your boss is not leaving, you can't leave. So you have to stay. So that's the culture. And but then nowadays it's kind of changing. There are a lot of companies, especially big companies, are really like keen on maintaining like a clean environment. And this is just to display like commuting in Japan. This is how it looks. Usually, before COVID, it was worse, and after COVID, like couple of years, it actually like got better. But now there are so many. So they're called like professional pusher at the train station. There are like several of them, and every morning we have to struggle like this. And then the average commuting time, I mean, it's still super on time. The trains are relatively on time. And usually, like, when the train is delayed, like 1 or 2 minutes, usually the train, person would apologize, announce, like, hey, like, I'm sorry, we're 2 or 3 minutes late, apologize for that. And then they will hand out, like, a nice ticket showing, proving that, okay, this train was delayed 2 minutes. So that's how punctual we are. And usually people commute 30 minutes and 40, this one is 30 minutes, sorry, it's in Japanese. And this one is 45 minutes and an hour. So a quite long time of commuting time. And that's why mobile game market got really big. Yeah. And manners, greetings is very important, bowing, especially to senior person or new client or existing client, bowing, and it's very important. Yeah, and business card. I know that business card doesn't exist anymore outside of Japan, and I was exchanging my business card to someone here, and he didn't have it. So, but still, business card is very important. So if you ever plan to go on a business trip or meet with your client, bring your business card. It's very important. And this is to display like what's the rules of
日本ではビジネスの場において様々な決まり事があります。それがジャパニーズビジネスマナー。まずは名刺の渡し方のマナーです。両手で持ち、右手で渡し、左手で受け取ります。1、2、3。この時に目上の人よりも低い位置で渡すことに注意してください。続いてはお辞儀のマナーです。通路等ですれ違う時には15度のお辞儀をします。目上の人に対して挨拶するときは30度のお辞儀をします。深い感謝を表すときには45度のお辞儀をします。以上がジャパニーズビジネスマナーです。ご視聴ありがとうございました。
So it's how it works. So yeah, also don't forget omiyage, souvenirs. If you're going to client's office or if you're seeing somebody, or you have to bring some sort of like a little souvenir. It doesn't have to be big, it can be like a box of chocolate or whatever, but it's always nice. But nowadays it might be a bit changing, like a lot of big companies are not accepting because it's sort of like a bribery or something. And the seating arrangement. I mean, this is too much detail, but overall, the farther it gets from the door, it's the most important seat. So, if you enter here, this one, number one, this one is the most senior person, and then you have to sit like this. And obviously, senior person has to sit farther in the center. So that's how it works. That said, there's so many, unspoken rules and everything, but do not worry about anything. Like, all we care is respect. So, as long as you respect the client or the person, this is going to be fine. You don't have to follow everything. So, yeah, that's it. Any questions?
Suppose to say I were going to meet somebody face-to-face in Tokyo Game Show or somewhere else. How important is keigo in the gaming industry in Japan?
Not much. I mean, if you are Japanese, obviously you have to be, decent. So keigo is very important. But foreigner, we don't expect anything. So, I'm sorry, it sounded kind of bad. No, but we have no expectation, but if you sort of come into the meeting like ice breaking, like hey, konnichiwa, like that's just like Alex did, like konbanwa, and then that's already super enough. A lot of Japanese people giggle and they're like, oh my god, Japanese a little bit, and that's it. So you don't have to worry about keigo and yeah.
So the industry is also a little bit more casual, like.
Yes,
like here in the
yeah.
West.
You don't have to show up with suit or anything. Like you can just show up t-shirt and jeans and sometimes flip-flops is okay. Yeah. Any questions? Yes.
Yeah. So from what you just said, because of the contextual meaning of what the people say, would you basically say that you should have a Japanese person who was brought up in that context to have for the correspondence because if I imagine I oversee a lot of contextual things but if I imagine that you have to also have the cultural context to understand even the information.
Yeah.
I imagine that to be a very high challenge.
That would be ideal. So obviously, a Japanese person who grew up outside of Japan would be, a completely different culture. And I myself, I was born and raised in Japan until 20 years old. And after that, I actually, moved around a lot of places. So now I'm sort of too westernized for Japanese people, but still, I was born and raised in Japan, so my soul is really samurai spirit. so yeah, I'm really Japanese, my core part. So yes, it would be different how they would take it. So preferably pure Japanese would be better.
Okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't say. Hopefully, I answered your question.
Yeah, thanks.
Anything else? No? Hopefully this was, good information for you guys. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all these insights. I have a question to you guys, or rather an opportunity. If any one of you, I would like to see a show of hands. Does anyone plan to go to market in Japan? Either before today or in general?
Nice.
Okay. You now would theoretically have a chance to, on the spot, do a stand-up presentation of the title and game you would consider going to Japan with. And you could ask Tomoe for a critique, tell her what your game is, what it's about, what your strategy would be like, and then you could get feedback. but I was pretty sure that no one would dare. It's not against you guys, it's in front of people, that's always hard. But that's a good chance. After we are done here, we have our usual mingling and networking part of the meetup, sadly not for the people on stream, but for everyone here. So feel free to approach Tomoe and talk with her face-to-face, one-on-one about your project, for example, or any other questions you might have.
You can add me on LinkedIn, or I brought my business card. I'm pretty sure you don't have. So, yeah, you can add me on LinkedIn, and you can write to me anytime.
The thing is, I didn't even have my business card, so that's on me. But before I let you off stage, I brought something for you.
Little souvenir.
Omaye, what was it?
Omiyage.
Omiyage. Yeah, I mean, it's for you. If you want to share it with your team, that's also fine.
Thank you.
But yeah, maybe I have to, yeah, that holds the microphone. And yeah, because you are in Düsseldorf, and we established that I don't drink beer.
Okay.
But Düsseldorf is famous for Altbier. So I got some Altbier
chocolate.
Sweets.
Okay, nice.
And Düsseldorf is also famous for Killepitch, which is alcoholic liquor.
Okay, this is going to help me tonight.
Yeah. Then I also have, I don't know why, but it's soap. I think that's just the usual kind of thing, but it has the little, you can't see it, it has the Fernsehturm, the TV tower on it.
Yeah. I see
speaking
the top.
of the TV tower, I got this one.
Oh, nice. This is kind of like a, nice.
Just for your desk to maybe remind yourself, remember your trip to Düsseldorf.
Thank you.
So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I also have omiyage.
Okay.
You don't come empty-handed. Yeah. Here you go. It's
should I open it now? Or
no,
later?
it's a rice crackers. So yeah, to share. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Then, do you have any last words for people?
No, as I said, like feel free to add me on LinkedIn if you have, and feel free to approach me with any questions or any comments. And if you need to have my presentation, I'm happy to share as well. And again, thank you so much for being here and listening to my presentation. I hope it was okay.
Awesome. Yeah. And my last words is, in the intro, I totally forgot to thank our partners. I mean, Wacom, obviously, they spoke for themselves, but thank you, Wacom, for having us. I forgot to mention the Düsseldorf Office of Economic Development, who also supported us, so thank you as well. And thank you, Hochschule Fresenius, University of Applied Science, for the stream, first time ever. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. And yeah, then let's have some cool mingling now. Thank you so much.